Hi, and in today's video we're going to be replacing the front bearings on a Hyundai Santa Fe 2012. And while we're at it, we're also going to replace the front brakes and pads. So loosen the wheel nuts, including any locking nut, then jack the car up and take the wheel off, and then you're going to want to take the centre cap out of the wheel. That'll just knock out the back with like a screwdriver and a hammer. Now before you put the wheel back on, you're going to see the castle nut for the hub in the picture above, like that, which I actually forgot to take a picture while the cotter pin was still in, but you're going to want to remove that, like some needle nose pliers tend to do it, and then you can knock it out. Now after that you can put the wheel back on, just using a couple of nuts, and lower it back down, so the wheel's touching the ground again. So now comes the fun part of trying to loosen off the castle nut for the hub. As you'll see in a minute, I tried it with my original breaker bar, and there you can go, I actually snapped it, so I found another one that I had, and then put the tube from the trolley jack on to give me an extra leverage, and I managed to get it in the end, because these are torqued up to about 250 newton meters. So next we get the car jack back up and remove the wheel. Now because we're doing the brakes as well, I'm actually going to remove the caliper away from the caliper holder and just give it a clean up as well. You don't actually have to do this, but we've just got the car, so I'm going to give it a good clean up with a wire brush and just see if everything's okay. So the two bolts to remove for the caliper are the two that just been shown there, and they're both 14 mil. They should come off pretty easy. And then just hanging the caliper out of the way with a bit of wire there. Removing the pads. Boss is just checking I'm doing a job there. Okay, so now there's two 17 mil bolts for the caliper holder. These can be a bit stubborn, but nothing a spanner and a hammer usually doesn't sort out. So just getting that removed there. So I'm just going to use a manual impact screwdriver to remove the two sort of Phillips head retaining screws for the disc brake. So I'm just going to use a hole punch to just knock back the dry shaft to loosen it away from the hub, and also remove the washer. So I'll get plenty of penetrating fluid on the threads to the 4 bolts that are holding the hub in, because you're going to have to wind them actually through. And then there's actually the back of them. So there's one of them, there's the next one, and the two on the other side. They are quite tricky to get to. I found just a spanner, couldn't really get a socket on them. These 4 bolts can be quite stubborn to get out due to the threads being full of rust, but eventually they will come out. Once you get them out, I used a lump hammer just to persuade the hub to come off. You'll see in a minute, I just sort of knocked it from the back on the lip. Then I cleaned up where the hub sits, just with some wet and dry and some degreaser, just to make it easier to put the new one back in. And then cleaning the calipers up as well and getting them pushed back, you see that? So that's the new hub going on. So the 4 hub bolts need torquing to between 80 and 90 newton meters. So we're going to tighten the castle nut up as much as I can with the socket, and then we're going to get the new disc on there, and then we'll put the caliper hanger on and use some copper grease on the pad sliders and on the back of the new pads, and then fit the caliper. So we're going to refit the wheel with just 2 wheel nuts, then lower it down, and then we're going to get the 32mm socket again, and then tighten the castle nut up, tightening that up to 250 newton meters or thereabouts, because it all depends where you can get your new cost pin lined up through the holes and the castle nut. Just got that on there. And then once that's done, you can put your wheel back on, put the wheel nuts back on, and then get on with the other side. Nearly forgot